Hangout is brought to you by Ashnik. We are an enterprise open source company and we offer solutions around big data, open source, analytics, and Oracle database replacement needs, with presence across Southeast Asia, India, and US. We are also a distributor partner of Nginx. In today's Hangout, we will be sharing Nginx capabilities in building application delivery platform to deliver your applications with greater performance and security. So stay glued. Today's speaker is Sandeep Khuperkar, who is a director and CTO at Ashnik. He is an author, enthusiast, and community moderator at opensource.com. He is also a member of Open Source Initiative, Linux Foundation, and Open Source Consortium of India. If there are any questions you'd like to ask, please type in as we go along. We will do our best to answer a few of them at the end of the session in specified time duration. And rest of the questions, including ones answered, we'll be posting on our site www.ashnik.com. Hope you enjoy this session. Over to Sandeep now.
Thank you, Ria. Hello, everybody, and thank you all very much for joining us today on this Hangout session. My name is Sandeep Khuperkar, and I'm for today's Hangout session. Okay, so what I would like to talk to you today about is how Nginx can help you deliver applications effectively, flawlessly, with greater performance and much of control. But before we get there, why is that so much focus to build a robust platform to deliver application? Isn't building great application enough? Maybe no. Because today, if you see, applications could be native on desktop, laptop, web applications accessed through browsers, or mobile applications, or tablet, or on smartphones. And in order to deliver these applications to users across the diverse platform and devices, what it requires is to build and maintain a robust platform which will be able to deliver these applications. This platform needs to provide good endpoint performance, flexibility, and security. Also very important is the ease to manage and provide the ability to monitor resource usage at the granular level. That is why it is said that building great application is one half of the battle, and delivering that application effectively, flawlessly is the other half of the battle. And we need to combine both the halves effectively to win this battle. Okay, so let's get started with a little bit about Nginx. You all might have known, and many of you might have been already using Nginx as web servers, reverse proxy, load balancing, content caching, so on and so forth. But what I would like to do here quickly is to give you insight of what goes inside Nginx, which makes it stand out from most of the traditional web servers. And these are the capabilities what Nginx provides to build highly available, secure, and flexible platform to deliver your applications. Okay, so very important point to note here is that Nginx is based on event-driven architecture as compared to process-driven architecture, what almost most of the traditional web servers are based on. And as it is based on event-driven architecture, it allows you to handle multiple connections within a single process. This enables to scale to hundreds of thousands of concurrent connections with great performance on commodity hardware. The architecture, what you are seeing on the screen, is Nginx process model. This shows what happens when Nginx runs. It creates a master process, which in turn fork out 3 child processes: worker process, cache loader, cache manager. So cache loader is a process which runs at startup to load the disk-based cache into the memory. And cache manager is a process which runs periodically and pulls the entry from disk cache to keep them within the customized size. And worker process, which is very critical and important here, is it does all the work. They handle network connections, they read and write content to the disk, and communicate with the upstream servers. And the master process, which forks out this child process, is a process which basically does all the privileged activities, like read from configuration and binding to the ports. So in most of the cases, the recommended configuration is to run one worker process per CPU. And you can do this by setting auto parameter on the worker underscore process directive. So when Nginx server is active, only worker process is busy. Each worker process handles multiple connections in non-blocking fashion. And as I mentioned that one worker process is running per core, it also helps you reduce context switching, which in turn helps you to improve the performance. So each worker process is a single threaded and it runs independently, grabbing new connection and processing them. So how it works is worker process waits for the event on the listen socket. Events are initiated by new incoming connections. These connections are assigned to the state machine, which in turn tells Nginx how to process that particular request. So think of these state machines like chess, game of chess. One side is web server and on other side is your client, that is the web browser. In traditional and most of the web server, how it works is process listen for the new connection. We can say new game on the listen socket. It plays that game, that is process that connection. And while it is processing that connection or playing the game, it blocks other movements till we get a response from the client. Once it gets response from the client, it waits to see if the same client wants to initiate new connection or maybe a new game. This is what we can refer to keep alive connection. But if connection is closed by the client and client goes away, then the web server process is again ready to listen for new connection. That is a new game. So the point to note here is every connection requires a dedicated process or thread, that is the grandmaster. Whereas in the case of Nginx, the worker process is the grandmaster, which can play hundreds of games simultaneously. How it works? Worker process wait for an event on the listen socket. Event occurs, that is the new game. Worker process creates a new connection socket and responds back promptly. And as it responds back, it immediately proceeds to other game. That is a new event. This way, Nginx scales very well to support hundreds of thousands of connections per worker process. And that's why it is called a true grandmaster, because a single worker process, that is the grandmaster, is able to handle multiple connections, that is able to play with multiple participants. Nginx process architecture allows you to load new configuration with no downtime. This is one of the capability which makes your platform highly available. So how you can do this is you can run nginx-s reload command to update the configuration file. This command sends a SIOP signal to master process, which then in turn reloads the new configuration and then forks out new set of worker process. You can see the worker process which are in orange, they are the new worker process created by the new configuration. These worker process immediately starts accepting the connection for the new setting. And the old worker process in turn stops taking new connection, and as all the current requests are completed and fulfilled, the old worker process shuts down the connection and exits gracefully. And this is how your new configuration file is in effect, and the new worker processors are taking the connections and catering to the connections with the new configuration file. Nginx Plus also provides you a capability to upgrade the binary on the fly without dropping connections and without taking the downtime. This is also a capability which makes your platform highly available when you are upgrading Nginx. So in this case, how it works is a new Nginx master process, that is the new binary, which creates a master process, runs in parallel with existing master process of the old binary. And they start sharing the listening sockets. So they share the listening sockets. What happens is you can signal the old master process and its worker process to gracefully exit, diverting all the connections to the new master process, which is upgraded with the new binary file. So this is how you can upgrade your Nginx on the fly. And this is one of the great capability because you don't have to factor the downtime for that. Okay, so what it needs, what it takes to create a platform which will help you deliver your applications flawlessly. Of course, when we talk about application delivery platform, it's not only about the software, but it's about overall combination of hardware, network components, and the software components, which makes it as a robust, flexible, and secure platform. But what Nginx brings to it is it combines a web server with load balancer, content cache, and media server, and it extends this with monitoring and managing capabilities. So with all these above capabilities, Nginx Plus helps you make your application production ready and helps deliver effectively. It helps reduce application load and deliver content faster by caching capability. It helps optimize performance by distributing traffic across application instances, avoiding failed or underperforming servers. Nginx Plus also helps application operate at a peak efficiency by its HTTP optimization capability. It helps drop bad requests before they impact the application. So this way, it takes off most of the load from the application server and allow it to focus on what it does best, that is running your applications. So net-net, it acts as a shock observer for your applications, protecting them from unpredictable internet traffic and helps them to perform at their best. Here you can see how user reference application instance through Nginx Plus, rather going directly. So if you have provision, after provisioning your application, adding a routing rule or maybe optional authentication to the Nginx Plus traffic management tier is all you need to do to make it available and to start monitoring traffic. This provides you a capability for faster deployment. Nginx Plus provides you advanced load balancing, session persistence, and health check capability, which gives you full control over where traffic is routed. This provides you a sophisticated request routing capability. Very important is Nginx provides through split client directive. It allows you to test your alternative application versions side by side. This provides you capability of A/B testing, which is really very important when you are already running some application. And if you are doing some changes in your application and you plan to upgrade it to the new version, parallelly, you can check your new version, its capabilities. When deploying a new instance of your application, you can use Nginx Plus to gradually move your users across as their session complete without any interruption in the service or loss of traffic. This provides you seamless application upgrade capability. Also, last but not the least is you can instruct Nginx Plus to stop sending new requests to the application instance what you plan to remove from the upstream group. But you want existing sessions to complete. This is known as a draining and provides a safe way to take servers down without interrupting or impacting user sessions. This gives you a control on taking a server out of the service, that is isolating the servers. So Nginx Plus acts as a trusted gatekeeper, giving you full control over with traffic to send to your application. Okay, so today when we are talking to our clients or customers and when we are seeing the shift in the market, what we are seeing is application infrastructure and development process are changing. In fact, they are changing fast. Organizations are looking at adopting continuous delivery and DevOps instead of big bang waterfall driven releases. Organizations are looking at adopting microservice instead of monolithic web applications. Deployments are definitely going through change when organizations are adopting cloud-based as a service. So in the face of all these changes, Nginx Plus is helping you to deliver high quality applications because of the capabilities what we discussed, connecting each microservices with other microservice, providing you authentication capabilities, providing you capabilities like caching, load balancing. It is providing you a platform to deliver these applications in a very effective way. Okay, so there are some key features or capabilities what has been added to Nginx Plus Release 7, and why we would like to mention it here is because they contribute towards making Nginx much more reliable, available, robust platform for delivering your applications. So let's see what are the key capabilities, few key capabilities which are helping you to build this platform. HTTP2. Most of you might be aware that HTTP2 is built on Google SPIDey protocol, and SPIDey is still an option until support for it is in Google Chrome, ends by, I think, early 2016. So how it works is basically it uses a single multiplexed connection per domain rather than multiple connections carrying each file when requested by the client. And also a great change over here is that HTTP2 is a binary protocol rather than the text protocol. So it makes more compact and efficient to perform in a better way. Headers are compressed with purpose-built HPAC protocol. So if you see the SPIDey protocol, the compression is done by gzip, wherein in HTTP2, it is built with HPAC protocol. There is one very advanced capability which has been added into HTTP2 is push capability. This allows server to push responses proactively into the client cache. What does that mean? So when a browser requests a page, the server sends the HTML in the response and then needs to wait for the browser to pass the HTML and issue request for all the embedded assets before it can start sending the JavaScript and images. Server push allows the server to avoid this round trip of delay by pushing the responses it thinks the client will need into its cache. So this is something which will also enhance the performance if you are planning to implement HTTP2 as a protocol. Thread pools. So as by now we all are aware, and as I mentioned in the start of the presentation, that Nginx uses an asynchronous event-driven approach to handle the connections, which means instead of creating another dedicated process or thread for each new request, which happens in traditional server, it handles multiple connections and requests in one worker process. And as I have already mentioned, as a worker process is one per CPU core, it consumes much less memory and avoids context switching. So Nginx works with socket in non-blocking mode and uses methods like epoll and keyqueue. But it still has a threat of blocking. To solve this problem, the new threat and process them one by one. Processing is done in a simple loop over a queue in one thread. The challenge is when a long and heavy operation occurs, the whole cycle event processing will stuck waiting for this operation to complete. Let's try to understand by this example. Okay, so imagine a salesperson in a store with a long queue in front of him. First guy in the queue asks for something which is not available in the store, but is available in the warehouse. The salesperson goes to the warehouse to get it, and till the time he comes back from the warehouse, the rest of the guys have to wait in the queue, even though what they might need is present in the store. So this is blocking. So blocking means any operation that blocks or stops the cycle of handling events for significant amount of time. It can be for various reasons, maybe CPU intensive processing, wait to access hard drive. But the key point here is during this period, the worker process cannot handle other events. Even if there are more system resources available and some events in the queue could utilize those resources, worker process cannot handle and it waits for the earlier process to get complete. And to solve this problem in specific, thread pools are introduced. To understand this in a better way, let's take the same example of salesperson. But now instead of he himself going to the warehouse, he appoints a delivery guy and he asks the delivery guy to go to handle the request while he continues serving other customer in the queue. Thus, this way, only those clients whose goods aren't in the store are waiting for delivery, while others can be served immediately. That's the concept of thread pool, and that's the specific problem of blocking thread pool is trying to address. So all those queues are passed to the task queue, and which can be processed, they are processed immediately. So the queue, the connection which needs something to be retrieved from the disk or any other long cycles, they are passed to the thread pool. Okay, another very interesting capability which really makes a difference is socket sharding. This capability allows multiple sockets to listen on the same IP address and port combination. Let's see how. On the left-hand side diagram, you can see in the absence of socket sharding feature, a single listening socket is notified and it notifies worker about incoming connection. So the kernel here notifies this socket, and this socket, single socket, notifies the worker about incoming connection. And then each worker tries to take that connection. But with the sharding option, what changes is there are multiple socket listeners for each IP address and port combination, one for each worker process. So kernel decides which socket listener to be notified, and hence, in turn, it notifies to the worker which it is associated with. This very clearly reduces the contention between worker process for accepting new connections and improve performance on the multi-core systems. We have seen performance improvement 3 times for the workloads which are short-lived connections. Okay, so there are some enhancements which has been done for access control and security, which also really adds to the capability of while we are building application delivery platform. The 2 key enhancements are NTLM support and TCP access control. So what does this mean, NTLM support? NTLM support enables to proxy and load balance application that use Microsoft NT LAN Manager for authentication. So NTLM is an authentication protocol used by many Microsoft products. So you guys, if you are using Microsoft products, you might be aware of NTLM authentication protocol. And particularly it's with a lot of legacy applications. So support for NTLM ensures that connections to the backend source are kept alive so that each NTLM authenticated client has a unique dedicated connection to the backend server. TCP access control, a new feature for TCP proxy and load balancing, helps improve access control. You can limit by IP address, connection limiting, you can limit by a number of concurrent connection per user or service maybe, and bandwidth usage. Upstream or downstream bandwidth per connection can be controlled. So these are the capabilities which helps in access control and enhancing the security while you are using Nginx for your application delivery platform. Of course, very important part is, as I mentioned earlier also, in any application delivery platform, we definitely need ease of maintaining, monitoring, and diagnostic tools. So a couple of improvements have been done in monitoring and diagnostic. What has been added are new counters, which helps us in diagnosing in more specific the errors. One of which is 499 error. This clearly tells which client closed the connection while server was processing the request. Nginx reload. This helps us identify whether it was failed or whether it was reloaded. Nginx was reloaded. Nginx worker restart. This lets us know that how many times Nginx workers were restarted. This helps to detect, Nginx worker process crashes. So we come to know whether it was crashed, whether it was restarted. SSL handshake, the number of SSL handshakes which were completed. So inclusion of these new counters gives us much more insight on diagnosing the errors, what we might face or what you might face. Moving forward to the dashboard section, which was always the part of Nginx, but there is a lot of updation which has been done, a lot of improvement which has been done in the dashboard, and it has been made more interactive. So this is how, in summary, the dashboard looks. A new dashboard overview tab gives a complete single-page summary of Nginx Plus activity. It gives you a summary of health of your application as well, which is very important when you are using it as an application delivery platform. An interface on the dashboard enables you to temporarily add or remove the servers in a load balancing pool, and you can mark the servers which are draining or inactive so that you come to know this particular server is draining and you can control the connections to that particular server. New filters enable you to quickly drill down and find failed servers. So you are able to find which are the failed servers in the upstreams. And the new tab view, which you can see, it lets you quickly switch from dashboard tab to more detailed views of zones, upstreams, and cache information. Throughout the dashboard, if you see a new tool, tips gives more detailed information about upstream servers, configuration reloads, cache status, and any error messages. So net, it helps you monitor, manage, and get the information about your server farms and about your application, how it is behaving. This brings us to the last section of our session. So if you see, in today's world, when you are expected to deliver consistently high quality application, Nginx Plus can help you as a constant component on which you can count on. No matter where you deploy your applications and the platform you select, Nginx Plus is a consistent, reliable, and high performance application delivery platform you can rely on. We saw all the capabilities what Nginx Plus brings while you are building application delivery platform. So with this, guys, keep building great applications and rely on Nginx to deliver them. with this, we are at the end of the session, and we are happy to take few questions. There are a couple of questions which has come, which we can see in QA panel. So let's pick up few of them and respond. So one question I can see here is, should we consider SPIDey or HTTP2? Okay, great. So SPIDey and HTTP2 overall gives the same performance, but SPIDey is around for several years. It is supported by most of the web browsers. Now the gap is closing, but if you are in hurry to implement new style of web protocol, you may start by offering SPIDey, and as by early 2016, when SPIDey support will be removed slowly, you can switch to the HTTP2. So this way you can start today with the new style web protocol, and you can be shifting it to HTTP2. Another question what we can see is that how do we enable socket sharding? Okay. So to enable the socket sharding, what you have to do is to enable SO reuse port socket option. Include the new reuse parameter to the listen directive for HTTP or TCP stream module. This way you will be able to enable the socket sharding. Okay, so we'll pick up one more question. What is Nginx script? Okay, so this is something which has been included very recently, announced by Eager. Nginx script is nothing but it's an implementation of much of JavaScript, and Nginx script can be used for quick fixes, making Nginx configuration and operation more efficient. Okay, so there are a couple of more questions, but as I mentioned as we mentioned earlier in the presentation at the start, that we'll be definitely responding on all those questions, and we'll be putting the response of remaining questions, including one what we answered, on our Ashnik site in the interest of time. So please write to us on success@ashnik.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube at AshnikBiz. And you'll be able to see this presentation on our YouTube SlideShare. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for being a very supportive audience. And we look forward to speak to you in Nginx series Hangout with new topic. Keep watching it Ashnik site to see our announcement for the next session of Nginx. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day.